Hello there, YouTube. This is Sibbles and Bits back at it again with a month of Aces and Adventures. Today we're going to be running another Leilah deck. Only reason why we're running a Leilah deck is because we have a Ravenmeyer deck, but I haven't really tested it that much in spring, so I don't know if it necessarily feels good. But looking at it, it looks like it'd be pretty decent. I just want to give it at least a couple test runs before we actually showcase it on the channel. Today we're going to be playing one of my decks called the Debuff Queen, which is pretty much just going into her level 1 Sadism talent, or Dominance talent? I think it's Dominance, which is whenever you apply or remove a debuff on an enemy, you will deal 1 damage. And she's obviously got like quite a lot of debuffs in her kit as compared to other characters. Like, other characters have enough debuffs to like help them with a style, but she's got all sorts of debuffs that can pretty much become the centricism, or the centerpiece of her style. Or obviously she's got other supporting stuff that if you have more of that, you can go into, like, say, um, overdrawing cards, gaining more abilities, debuffing enemy stats, all of that. But this is pretty much, it's sort of like a nuker deck, and hopefully we'll be able to show that off. Anyways, we're going to start off with our 2 buffs. Our 2 buffs are Curse Seeker +1, which normally Curse Seeker, which we have a couple of, allows you to deal 3 damage to all targets with a debuff. Good AoE, especially for a club. Of course, you got to consider the cost of all the debuffs that you're putting out there, and but even against a single target, this is quite good. But Curse Seeker +1 only costs 1 more black suit, and what it does is it gives you +1 combat damage against a target with a debuff, which is quite significant, especially because it also counts as defending. It counts as you attacking. So long as you have debuffs on enemies, which is generally all the time in this deck, you're going to be able to deal +1 damage, which adds up quite a bit. Our other buff is Ring of the Gene, which for a relatively low cost of a spade and a red suit, we get to deal +1 ability damage, but our ability cards cost an additional card. The number one important thing about this buff is that Dominance, which we mentioned earlier, is 1 damage whenever you apply or remove a debuff. That counts as ability damage, because it does not say that it deals attack damage. So, by implanting this, all of our curses do 2 damage when we apply them or remove them. One of the main deficits of this, though, is that quite a number of our cards do deal damage, so they're going to get a +1 cost, but we're relatively okay with that most times. So then, going through all of the debuffs that we have Chains of Will, which is basically, it's like Chains of Will, which is in the baseline deck for Leilah, where you just top deck against an enemy, and if you succeed, you tap them. What this does is puts a debuff on them, and then every turn at the start of their turn, they have to try and beat you in a top deck, and if they lose, they get tapped and they don't do anything. For the most part, that's just a debuff, but sometimes it helps. Change of Heart is just a way for us to cycle out our abilities. Morthgaro, in the comments of one of the videos, did suggest that I start using more. I even have a couple of them. New Wardrobe, which allows you to cycle all of your abilities. That is a consideration instead of Change of Heart, especially if, say, you're using hearts in particular. But I typically think that Change of Heart is a good budget option. To note that these have silver borders, so they're what you might call uncommon cards. So you're relatively more likely to get these than, say, Wardrobe +1, because this is a gold border, so it's rare. but it's the same rarity as New Wardrobe, and as you can see, I don't have a lot of them. So I would say that if you're trying to recreate this deck and you have a lot more New Wardrobes, you might want to get that one. My only problem with New Wardrobe in most decks is that it discards all your ability cards in your hand and then draws another 5. So, if you're the type of deck that wants to like hold on to a combo, you're going to get rid of that, or you're not going to want to play New Wardrobe until you use that. And so it might feel a little bit constrained, whereas generally speaking, I have one ability that I don't need at the current moment, and so this is how I switch those out. Conduit is another debuff. It pretty much just allows us to splash damage. If we deal damage to this target, all targets adjacent to them take the same amount of damage. Curse Seeker, as we said before, just allows you to do 3 damage to any targets with a debuff. Dominant Curse is pretty much our main curse for dealing damage because it only costs 1 black suit, which is relatively easy to pay for, especially once you start getting, if you're in War of the Branches and you're either culling a couple of red cards. We use red cards, so we don't necessarily want to do that, but you can give some cards Wild Suit, or some events will just go ahead and allow you to either change the amount of cards that you have of one type in a deck, or it allows you to change your costs. You can reduce this cost to 0 in War of the Branches. So these are pretty much our bread and butter. I would technically have more of these, but I don't know. Sometimes the other ones just help out a bit more. And again, because this one deals damage, if we have Ring of the Gene in play, this costs 2 cards. Anyways, what this does is it deals 2 damage to an enemy whenever it's removed or replaced. So it's pretty much exactly like how Dominance works. And you'll see later that we have lots of ways to either remove this, or since most of our deck is curses, we can also just easily replace this. But if we plant this on an enemy and we have Ring of the Gene, then that's going to deal 2 damage, draw us another ability due to dominance. Then if we use another skill to replace it, then this is going to deal 3 damage, and then dominance is going to deal 2 damage. So for 2 cards, probably 2 actual cards from our hand, we're dealing 7 damage. It's pretty good. Eldritch Snap is just a way for us to remove a debuff from an enemy and deal 2 damage. This is also enhanced and the cost is increased by Ring of the Gene. But again, we don't typically care because if you're dealing, 5 damage to an enemy, most of the time, except versus like high health enemies or bosses, they're pretty much taken care of at that point. Gift Bearer is generally, I like this as a defensive card because this debuff makes it so that when enemies attack you, you draw an extra card. It might help you get a better pair. It might help you get high card. Also just cycles through your card deck. This also has the benefit of not actually dealing damage, so Ring of the Gene will not increase this cost. But otherwise, it's just a cheap way for us to put debuffs on enemies so that we can use other things on them. Glamour just cancels enemy combat and draws a card. It's basically our way to get out of jail free. We could possibly use better cards than this, I believe. I just wanted to have ones that used red cost because quite a bit of these use black. Heart's Burden is we plant this buff on an enemy, and if it's ever removed or replaced, we get 1 HP, which is kind of nice. It also, again, doesn't deal damage, so this one's always going to cost 1 heart. And the good thing about this is even if we don't have the means of removing it, if we top deck a heart at the start of their turn, then we will remove it from them. Hit Bump is just a way to... It's a little bit of defense, making sure that somebody who has a debuff can't attack us. Sadism is sort of like our burst. If for whatever reason we don't have the means of which to either remove a debuff or replace a debuff, do anything like that, this is just 5 damage to any enemy that has a debuff, which is more damage than we would normally do anyways. Stretch Neck just reduces enemy defense, so makes it so that enemies that have lower defense were actually able to just straight up do attack damage to them. Otherwise, it's a debuff. I could see replacing these neck stretches with more gift bearers, or even, like, say, more Chains of Will for defense. But I just have these in here because, well, she has quite a lot of, like, curses to choose from. And I don't know. I should probably replace these, though. Stretch Neck +2 just makes it so that they take double damage from the next attack. Then it removes. Sometimes we're offensive, and this one's pretty good. I would definitely like to keep this one. That might be the reason why I keep these. For -2 defense, just makes it more easy for us to deal damage ourselves if that's the way that the run is going. But otherwise, it's quite expensive for that take. And Whim is just the ability to return a debuff back to our hand, which obviously is very useful because it allows us to cycle it through. And this is a 0-cost card, so it allows us to do a lot of single target nuke, a lot of card dancing in this deck. Hopefully it ends up looking entertaining.
The Djinn could not shackle me. I walk my own path.
Generally speaking, we don't care about specific cards. Obviously, you want to try and keep a high pair or a high card, so we're definitely not going to get rid of this king. Also, taking a look at what we have down here, we have Change of Heart, so this allows us to get out of that. I would prefer to keep a lower heart for that. We could Change a Heart or a Curse Seeker just to get some more cards. One thing that I forgot to mention back at making the deck, or the deck overview, is that originally I probably had too much we'll call it curse utility. And it's important to note in any air quotes deck builder or anything where you have to pull from a deck that we can only have baseline 5 abilities in our hand. And so you have to consider what is the worst 5-card hand that I could potentially draw. Now, technically speaking, with that deck, we could still draw 3 whims, a tap an enemy that has a debuff, and there's another support card in there that would technically do nothing for us. If you draw all 5 of those, are you going to succeed in combat? Originally, I had way too much curse utility, and so I would frequently run into the problem where I would start games with no curses, and then I would go into combat and still not draw any curses, and eventually my hand would get locked up and I wouldn't be able to do anything. Keep that kind of stuff in mind. Anyways, we're going to get rid of that.
I didn't think it was possible to improve.
And obviously we're going to be taking dominance in this type of deck. Another thing that I did not note is that if we apply a debuff on an enemy that previously didn't have a debuff, we draw another ability. So again, this allows us to cycle through our deck pretty well, especially in combination with Whim.
There is
And it's originally why I had too many Whims in my deck. So, for this deck, I think getting an early ability shrine and reducing the cost of some of our curses is pretty good. So we're probably going to take this path, but we could level up early and take this path instead. We'll try this way, actually.
Now it's my turn.
Alright, we can afford this.
Time for a change.
I definitely don't think that we need 2 Curse Seekers. And then we're going to go ahead and just do this. Interesting.
Time to give fate a hand.
Now, we definitely scuffed that one up. Maybe 10 was a bit low, but I thought that we would be able to hit that. Anyways, we'll just Curse Eater, I guess. And since we had conduit on the first enemy, that obviously like branched through and hit everything adjacent.
Charmed, I'm sure. I changed my mind. Fate is what I make it. I am as the desert breeze.
We need to get rid of a card. It's going to be kind of a waste to use sadism here, but having 2 glamours in our hand is not the best situation.
You must be punished.
I mean, we'll go ahead and try and get this installed, but right now we're about to get attacked.
You cannot trust your eyes. My wish is your command.
And that's our other buff. Okay, yeah, this is pretty suffer right now, having both of these and both of our buffs.
Just a little nudge.
We want that in place, though.
You must be punished. Time for a change.
Alright, please get rid of Curse Eater. That's more like it. We'll keep all this here. I think what we're going to do is just end this guy, honestly.
Well, this hardly seems fair.
Okay, so our level 2 is pretty flexible in this build. The one that I typically tend to go for is Ring of Clarity, which is after a successful attack, your next ability is free to cast. This means that even Sadism, which is currently, you might be able to see it, a spade, any card, and an attack. Free. Straight up free. It's insane.
I am as the desert breeze. I hold your heart in my hands. Charmed, I'm sure.
I would like to have that dominant curse back.
My mind.
And we're just going to hit you with a pair. Ability Shrine. Reduce cost of these dominant curses. Event. I'm sorry, what?
I can.
Yes? I mean, it really doesn't matter. We're going to lose all of them at the start of the turn anyways.
Now it's my turn.
Oh my good lord, that's such a good event for this deck. Okay. Pair of 2s. If we stretch neck, you only have 2 cards. Seems pretty good. Gonna have to do this though. Rude. So what we're gonna do is probably put stretch neck on you. Then I want that back.
I changed my mind.
You really just won't die, will you? Did I mention how rude you are?
Just a little nudge.
I'll take 1 damage.
My wish is your command.
No. Oh, because it's stretch neck +2. I am a fool.
Fate is what I make it. Aha!
Wow. These guys are being straight up rude.
Now it's my turn.
Guess I might as well use
I
this.
hold your heart in my hands.
Alright, that's a bit rough going into a boss. We'll go ahead and we'll take a short rest.
I am as the desert breeze.
Alright. We got all the glamours again. And no debuffs that we can cast. Wow.
My wish is your command.
Hmm.
I'll tell you when you've won. I am as the desert breeze.
Ow.
I hold your heart in my hands.
That was silly of me. I can't remove that.
Now I'm perfect.
Alright. So. Again, I think this is just typical Leilah stuff. I don't know if I've ever made a deck that has been stringent on her level 3. It really depends on what's going on. Right now, we really don't have much of anything going on. We are technically attacking because we took Ring of Clarity. So I could see Whim of the Wind possibly being something that you would take. But I could also see Celerity being something that you take. Because, theoretically speaking, if you had the right hand, you would be able to attack once or twice with Celerity, and then that would enable you to just nuke somebody twice with free abilities. But Desert Rose also makes it a little bit easier to pay for costs, because we do have costs. We have required black cards, we have some hearts required, we have spades required. It's just overall pretty helpful. And again, sometimes it'll help you get a flush because you'll have all of one suit and maybe a couple diamonds. I can see all these being taken, but we'll go ahead and take Desert Rose.
Now it's my turn.
Okay.
I hold your heart in my hands. Charmed, I'm sure.
I suppose I should have used Whim because I was getting rid of it anyways. I'm not used to having this ability on this deck. Alright, give me another event. Let's keep it spicy. Transfer all your heart cards into diamonds. Now, that might seem a bit spicy since we have a lot of heart costs, but since diamonds are wild suit, they're also hearts. And so what this does is this makes half of our deck wild. This is actually insane. Oh my god. Anyways, we're probably going to reduce more costs at the ability shrine, but we'll see how our hand looks at the time. We definitely don't want to take damage here, so we might just go ahead and blow up everything, if possible. Oh.
Just a little nudge.
Go ahead and do that. Hit this guy. Sadism. Whim that back. Okay. We're getting there. So what do we have? We can have a cheaper... Tell you what. Cheaper glamour actually isn't that bad if we're going to see it this often. Otherwise, another thing that would be kind of nice is being able to take this jack and make it a wild suit. Because if it's a wild suit, then it's also a diamond. Well, I guess it's just a wild suit anyways. But, yeah. I could also see copying a whim. This is rough.
You must be punished.
Oh, jeez. All right. Rude? How about you have a pair of 8s instead?
Charmed, I'm sure.
Alright. Let's get this health back. Actually, that won't do. We'll have to hit you.
Your heart in my hands.
Nope. I lied. Meep bap. Merchant, we only have 3. We could use some defense. I could see us using defense. And that also gets us towards another ability shrine. +1 ability damage! We take that over defense.
Shopping.
Oh my god. gonna blow people up.
You must be punished.
The song of my people? Alright. Let's do this, I guess.
I hold your heart in my hands. I changed my mind. I hold your heart in my hands.
Oh my good lord. Reducing dominant curse, and I believe... I kind of want to reduce Heart's Burden. That's what I'm feeling. Then again, Stretch Neck also has applications. Let's do that. Pretty much get rid of our whole Ring of the Gene debuff. Uh-oh.
Time to give fate a hand.
No.
My wish.
We're gonna get rid of it anyways, might as well play it, I guess. Okay, this is definitely how we want to play this. I was debating sadism there, but this is going to do quite a bit. Just have to somehow survive this. Block it. It's a pair of 10s. None of this is really going to help us. If we get rid of the pair of 10s, what do you have? You have a queen. Okay.
I'll tell you when you've won. Now it's my turn.
Oh, that's Curse Seeker +1. If I had a chance, I would honestly get rid of this at this point. Probably should have kept those, actually, because we almost had a 4 of a kind. Give me more equipment. What?
I am as the desert breeze.
Okay.
I hold your heart in my hands. I changed my mind. I hold your heart in my hands.
Oh my good lord, we're just too strong. I don't know if we can get out of damage here. What's this have to take to?
Now it's my turn.
Alright, this is the one we're looking for. Because that is a free nuke? I don't know why that increased. I guess because it itself is an ability? Oh my good lord. Return that to our hand then. It's a good card. We're getting rid of it anyways, but... If we can have free abilities, then we just get to keep doing that shit. So I think we go to ability shrines. This gives us one, this gives us one. Okay. No?
My wish is your command. I hold your heart in my hands. Time for a change. I changed my mind.
We are refusing to play the game. This is a great reduced cost. Sadism, we're pretty much only going to play when we have to, so let's get rid of these dormant curses, get them down to 1 cost. It also protects us from anything that might have something like nullify spades, nullify clubs. Since we're not using cards to apply them anymore, it's just, they can't resist it. They literally cannot resist it, and it allows us to have hands like this.
I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
I'm going to be changing my mind a lot, by the way.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Okay, if you insist. Oh, before we do that, let's put something on you. Tap you. And then we're gonna just nuke literally everything here. Oh my god. I think we might one round of Avernus. I don't know how to feel about this.
My wish is your command.
I'm actually reacting honestly. I've never popped off this bad. Can we even... Oh, we can't afford to do that. It's like, can we get 1 health out of this? We don't even need the health. Oh my good lord. We should have been playing Autumn. Sure.
You must be punished.
We actually want to end our... We want to end here with a full ability hand so that we can use it at the merchant. So that means that we do this. That's unfortunate. Let's do this instead.
My wish is your command.
Wait a minute. No. Oh, it has to be a flush, because otherwise it's not a valid attack. But if we did this... Oh, come on. That's right, 2 pairs aren't allowed. Okay, we're gonna have to do something here.
Time for a change.
There we go. I don't even know what I'm physically doing. But,
Shall we deal?
I guess it worked.
Do you accept old lamps? Do you have this in my size?
Yeah, this event, New Bud, or New Leaf, I have no idea why this is even in the game. It's such a game changer.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Oh no. Anyways.
I changed my mind. I am as the desert breeze.
Oh, this guy has resist. Oh no. That's actually bad. No. Rude. I guess we're gonna hit you with a flush. Which isn't really gonna do much else because you don't have a curse on you. The one thing that could stop us, resist.
Now it's my turn.
I actually did not. Holy shit. Your next ability is free to cast. That also includes items? Oh my good lord. Okay, Leilah's strong. Thank you.
I changed my mind. Charmed, I'm sure. I hold your heart in my hands. I hold your heart in my hands.
Oh no, you removed my buff. Anyways. We'll just say no. You can resist that? Excuse me? Thanks for killing yourself
Punished.
in Minecraft. Okay.
Time for a change.
Nice.
You cannot trust your eyes.
I knew another pair was going to come up. Oh, we got this. Never mind.
turn.
I mean, it's not like 2 damage would actually mean much of anything to us. Oof, we're gonna try it. Don't resist. Yeah. And goodbye. Don't be rude. Goodbye. Stab.
And my hair still looks fabulous.
We were digging around half the time. You probably could have gotten an S+ on that. We didn't do anything spectacular as far as, like, you know, full houses, royal flushes. Well, I think we got a flush, but that was about it. Damn. All right. Anyways, hopefully that was exciting for you guys. That was probably, like, we're done in 47 minutes, guys. That deck was insane. Like I said, I've never seen it pop off like that. The +1 ability damage really turned that around, but even without that, you could see how it was kind of powerful with just the Ring of the Gene. And it just would have been a lot slower without the new Bud, because being able to redraw our hand each time meant that we didn't have to worry about like what we're leaving for the next round, or like ability draw. Without that, a lot of our ability shrines probably actually would have been like drawing more abilities to use in the next fight. But once you have that, you just don't care about anything, and it allows you to go to merchants and buy pretty much everything because you usually have abilities in your hand. And so you just snowball out of control. It, like, honestly, that event needs to be looked at, in my opinion. Anyways, hopefully it was enjoyable for you guys. If you have any feedback, be it on the deck showcase format, the deck itself, how we played the deck, go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. Otherwise, if you have any other sorts of feedback, be it comments, questions, concerns, misplay alerts, be sure to put that down there as well. And until next time, I'll catch you guys around.